Showtime! Welcome to the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup, a look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in a mere 5 minutes or thereabouts. I'm Rich Freeman, ChannelPro's executive editor, and with me as always is my co-host Erick Simpson, Senior Vice President and CIO of SPC International, a business improvement and training service for MSPs and solution providers. Erick, how you doing today?
Great, Rich. How are you?
I'm doing well. We are a meteorological study in contrast this week. Part of the fun of this show is Erick and I fly around the country all the time. So I am broadcasting this week from sunny, warm Phoenix, Arizona. And where are you, Erick?
Well, I'm broadcasting today from New York City, just blocks away from Times Square, where it's probably about, 18 degrees or so out there.
Okay. Yeah, but you were in Minneapolis earlier in the week, even colder, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 1 degree when I got up the first day I was there. So ouch. There you go.
Ouch. Well, let's dive into our news story of the week. So the reason I'm in Phoenix is I've been attending the Q1 meetings of HTG Peer Groups, very popular peer group organization in the SMB channel. Earlier this month, they were acquired by ConnectWise. And so it was going to be interesting to see how the members reacted to that new ownership. For the most part, I think it's safe to say they are going to go home more or less reassured. I heard the phrase "time will tell" a lot here, so I think there are a lot of people waiting to see what kind of changes might be in store for them, and if that is or isn't going to be a problem. But actually, the top story that I wanted to talk about was something that ConnectWise announced here at the show, and I had an opportunity to interview Arnie Bellini about. Late last year, as everybody knows, Datto and Autotask merged and became one company, a big competitor to ConnectWise. So there was a cocktail reception here Monday night, and the crowd parted, and all of a sudden I noticed that standing there in the courtyard with the HTG members and a bunch of vendors and so on was Austin McCord of Datto. And it turns out that he and Arnie sat down, or had sat down earlier that day. They worked out a cross-sponsorship arrangement for their events. And the next day, ConnectWise announced that they were lowering all the barriers, basically, to attendance at their events going forward. So Datto and Autotask are going to be welcome, Kaseya, QuoteWorks. There was a handful of companies that weren't allowed to attend. Everybody is allowed to attend now going forward, and it's yet another sign, basically, that so far at least, the Datto Autotask merger hasn't resulted in barriers going up and integration and openness being compromised.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategic move on ConnectWise's part. Arnie's a great strategist, and taking the the first step to try to mitigate any kind of fracturing of the channel, because as some folks like Pepsi, some folks like Coke, and I think there's also the influence of the HTG acquisition that kind of fed into this as well. As HTG is out there to help all solution providers, and I think this is a way to kind of extend an olive branch to say, hey, all are welcome, and it creates a great exposure, great PR, and candidly, it opens up more opportunities for ConnectWise to engage with, other partners who they may not have had a chance to engage with in the past because of their vendor affiliation.
It really does make business sense for all the companies involved to remain open. I think there are a lot of people who are waiting to see how long does that last. If Datto wins over some former ConnectWise user or vice versa, to some of these walls start going up at some point. But right now, and at every point since the Datto Autotask merger was announced, everybody is saying the right things. And so, as you say, it's smart business, but it's also some kind of encouraging for their partners.
Sure. And at the end of the day, it's great for the partner channel. It's great for solution providers to be able to experience this more open, welcoming environment where, they're just out there trying to find better ways to run their business, be exposed to vendors that can really help them move the needle and support and things like that. So I think it's a win-win-win all the way around for everyone.
Well, speaking of looking for ways to run their business better, Erick, what is your tip of the week?
So today's tip of the week, Rich, I want to touch on establishing a career advancement or succession planning strategy for your IT solution provider company's staff. I was working with a client earlier this week, and one of the challenges that they've been working through is figuring out how to continue to create strong engagement with their technical teams. And recently they've seen some of their resources move to some competitors. And so what we focused in on was, we need to provide them the tools that they need to make sure that we are addressing what they want out of the relationship with their employer. They want to learn new things. They want to be exposed to new technologies. But more than that, we've got to show them a clear path for advancement in the organization. And that also ties into kind of a succession strategy / exit strategy for the business owners over time. And we'll get into that topic next week.
Interesting, because one of the things that Arlen Sorensen, the founder and head of HTG Peer Groups, emphasized a lot at the event this week is that the decision to sell the company to or become part of ConnectWise was very, very much tied into legacy and succession planning and thinking ahead. Arlen is in the vicinity of 60, 61 years old. He's not going anywhere as far as I know, but sooner or later he'll want to retire, and he wanted to make sure the company was set up. So he's certainly thinking about what comes next for his company and his employees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one last story before we let people go, and it actually kind of circles back to something that we talked about in our last episode. We both offered kudos to Delta Airlines for cracking down on so-called comfort animals. Well, it looks like United Airlines has gotten in the act this week. There was a woman at Newark Airport who attempted to board a flight with a comfort peacock, a 6-foot-tall bird who she insisted had to fly with her. And by golly, United Airlines said, just not going to let you do that.
That's so funny, Rich. And, I sent you that story while I was on a flight earlier to Minneapolis, and there was a woman in front of me with a comfort poodle that she had riding around her neck like a shawl. And the whole flight, it just sat there looking at me the whole flight. And I just thought, it doesn't make me very comfortable. Where's my comfort, when this happens? So very funny.
Well, fantastic. That is our show for this week. Thanks for joining us. If you want to keep up on the latest episodes of 5-Minute Roundup and get our live hangouts on your calendar, be sure to subscribe to the ChannelPro Network YouTube channel. For more news from ChannelPro, check out channelpronetwork.com. To learn more about SPC International, visit consulting.spc-intl.com. Until next week, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week. We are enjoying the rest of your week already.